Decimals on the number line. Let's have a look at how we can locate certain points on a number line that involves decimals and work out the scale of a number line so that we can actually figure out what all of the tick marks represent. I've got three different number lines here with different scales. Let's see if we can identify the location of A and B on each one. On this first one, we know this is 0 and this is 0.5, so we need to work out what we're counting by. Now, instead of counting by the tick marks, it's quite handy to count the spaces because this is the space we're looking at. It's been divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal sized spaces. So if you're dividing 0.5 up into 5 equal bits, each one must be 0.1. How do I know? Well, I know that 0.1 times 5 is 0.5. So we must be counting along by 0.1s. So we can fill it in here and say this is 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and check that naturally we would land on the next point we're given, 0.5. So that seems right. And we must continue on 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and up here we have 1, 1.0. So it's quite easy on this one to see that A is 0.3 and B is 0.7. All right, let's look at the second number line. It's got a different scale. We know that 0 is here. Then we've got A. We've got 0.05 up here. So we need to see how many spaces there are between 0 and 0.05. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So similar to the last one. But what are we going up by? Well, if we need to count up and five times and get to 0.05, each tick mark must be 0.01 because as we add them on, again, if you're not sure, give it a go and see if it looks right. 0.01, 0.02, 0.03, 0.04, and sure enough, 0.05. Now notice how I counted the spaces to see how many there were so that I could divide up that space into 5 equal parts. But I didn't label the spaces, I actually labelled the tick marks because from here to here is a jump of 0.01. So I can keep on going 0.06, 0.07, and now I can label my spots. Right, A is here, 0.02, that one was quite easy. B though looks like it's halfway between 0.05 and 0.06. Now if it's not right on, you need to think about what's halfway between those two. Now, I can divide up this space always when I add another decimal place. If I say this is 0.050 and 0.060, that means I can divide up, there'll be 10 little places between there and there, won't there? And halfway along will be 5 of those places. So I'll have, I could say 0.051, 0.052, 0.053, 0.054, 0.055, 0.056, 0.057, 0.058, 0.059, and it makes sense that after that would be 0.60. See how it's almost like counting from 50 up to 60, with 55 being halfway? But the difference is there was a 0 in front of the 50 and the 60, so there needs to be 1 in front of the 55 as well. So B is 0.055. All right, down to our last number line. 6.8, 7, 7.2, 7.4. What's it going up by? Well, let's have a look. If this is 6.8 and this is 7, another strategy, instead of dividing it up and saying, hey, there's 4 spaces between there and figuring it out, if we're dividing by 4, it makes sense to kind of halve it and then halve it again. What's halfway between 6.8 and 7? 6.9. So this point here, which is 2 spaces along, must be 6.9. And so 6.8, 6.9, looks like every 2 tick marks, I go up another point. So this one will be 7.1, 7.2, 7.3, etc. Now to label the ones in between, what's halfway between 6.8 and 6.9? Well, don't forget this is 6.80 and this is 6.90. So between 80 and 90, you've got 81, 82, 83, 84, so on up to 89 and then 90. Same, you've got 6.80, 6.81, 6.82, all the way up to 6.90. So this point here will be 6.85. How do I know? Because 5 is exactly halfway between. Between 80 and 90, we've got 85. All right, now this point B looks a little bit trickier. First I should find this point, so I have 1 on either side. By the same logic that we used here, if this is 7.10 and this is 7.20, this middle one will be 7.15 because 15 is halfway between 10 and 20. Now, this point B, is it halfway between these two? It looks a little bit more on this side of halfway, doesn't it? So rather than halving this, I'm thinking, what if I divide this by 5, this space? And that makes sense because between 15 and 20, 15 and 20 is 5 apart, isn't it? So if I divide this space up by 5 by halving this and cutting this into 3 parts, see how I've made 5 parts that are roughly even? So I'll have 7.16, 7.17, 7.18, 7.19, 7.20. So that makes sense. And I've basically just each time looked at what I needed to divide up the things on either side by to find the tick marks that are closest.